Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I'm your host, John Kovacs Jr., also the founder and chairman of the Champion Circle Networking Association, a growing global group that will be reaching cities near you, where we focus on mastermind methodologies as a way to perpetuate and accelerate our accountability, which is what every entrepreneur needs. Everyone needs a little bit of enhancement on their accountability and making declarations on the responsibilities that they'll take with themselves and their own integrity built into their lifestyles. I'm really excited to have today's conversations. We are in season 5, which means we've got a little over 3 or 4 years of this, doing the interviews, talking about knowledge and sharing some of the amazing stories from the relationships that I've built. And what a really fun way to just honor and respect and love and send gratitude to those who I've been able to meet through the connections I've built. When I first went to college, I made a lot of money off of my peers, and the way I say that very intentionally, because I want you to think: was he scamming his peers? Was he working with the other students? And what I was doing was I was spending a lot of time at the Business Resource Center on campus and learning what businesses looked for in LinkedIn accounts, professional references, and resumes. And so I would just charge my peers, my colleagues, and the kids sitting next to me in classes. I would charge them for sprucing up their LinkedIn accounts or going in and rewriting their resume so that they could get the job or get the interview, and just coach them up. And that was something I really loved. But the reason I bring that up is because I found so much power in I found so much power in serving other people. And I also found that there is a ton of amazing resourceful opportunities in giving back to other people. But there's so much power in LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has your first degree network, right? There are people who you connect with, but the true capital of connection capital, comes from the people that you connect with and who they're connected with. And I think that's a really important piece to remember, because as we meet people, as we network, as we build relationships, the one thing that always will quickly be shoved under the rug, but should be brought out to the light, is who brought you there. What was it that attracted you to the connections you made? And could you ever turn around and give gratitude back to the individuals or the campaigns that lured you into those relationships developed? And I can tell you that a majority of the people who do network tend not to look back. And so with that introduction, I want to thank a really important individual in my life, a mentor figure, a really close friend, and someone who I love working with, Eric, Mr. Awesome Swanson, who has connected me with so many amazing people, whether it was through our mastermind groups, through our book collaborations, which you guys all know about, the recent 13 Steps to Riches, which we had talked about on previous episodes, and so many more opportunities, speaking engagements, conferences, summits, and seminars, and so forth. I just give so much gratitude to the individual who's connected me, and by a product of just being a friend of his and a partner in business, have had so many opportunities to meet great people. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you guys to a friend and a colleague and a person who is an absolute amazing professional. I mean, this individual shocks me every time they speak. I've met this person through Eric, Mr. Awesome Swanson. I've met this person through Facebook. I've met this person on Clubhouse. This person shines. And there's a really, really key word there. She shines in the spotlight, because this individual is not only a great professional, but she's a great human being. She has brought so much into her career from her experience and from all that she does. And I want to help you guys help me welcome Lynda Sunshine West to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. Lynda, thank you I think I said Melinda. Sorry, Lynda Sunshine West to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. We'll take that out. But thank you and welcome. How are you today? And thank you for being here.
I'm doing great. And I don't usually answer to Melinda, but when you say it, John, I will.
You're so nice. Thanks for helping me. I don't know why I said that one, but that's awesome. I'm sure people are just wondering, is Sunshine really your middle name? Could you tell us a little bit about how you got your name?
First of all, no, it's not. And I want to shout out to LinkedIn because, it has been an amazing platform for me as well. You're making really great connections over there because you mentioned LinkedIn. It's a great place to network, as long as you're not doing slimy, sleazy,
Right.
salesy networking. And I think actually all the platforms work that way. But LinkedIn, go over there. If you are in business, go over there, check it out and make those connections. So Sunshine is not my given name. It's the name that was given to me just within the last 4 years. I've been on a personal development and entrepreneurial journey. It's been almost 7 years now since I started this journey. And it was interesting because the first time somebody called me Sunshine, I was at an event and somebody called me Sunshine. And I was like, are you talking to me? Like, I didn't know who they were talking to. And then about a week or two later, another person called me Sunshine. And then somebody else did. And after like the fourth time, I said, you know what? I got to look at this and see what the heck this is all about. If other people are calling me Sunshine, I'm just going to go ahead and adopt the name. And what's been interesting is by me adopting the name or accepting, because like a lot of times they will say, well, fake it till you make it or be it till
Mm.
you become it. So what I did is I adopted the name. And then I myself started embodying that feeling that other people had about me. And so now I feel like that as well. So when I show up as me, as Lynda Sunshine. Now people call me Lynda. I say it's Lynda Sunshine, so it's the interesting progression of how that happened.
And I love it. And you and I were talking about something, and I wanted to, before anyone gets to know you anymore, you and I were talking backstage about your branding color being blue. And it's interesting because when I think of sunshine, or at least when most people think of sunshine, they would be thinking of bright yellows and something like that. But blue is your color, and you make blue shine, which is really cool about sunshine. But tell us a little bit about your relationship with the color blue and why you love it and why it becomes part of your branding color.
Well, it's an interesting question because yeah, sunshine yellow, but my branding color came about way before the name Sunshine did. And
Awesome.
so when the name Sunshine came up, I started thinking, should I change it to yellow? And I'm like, I don't really like yellow. It's not one of my favorite colors. Pink is a color that when I see it, I just, it's like so drab to me, which is interesting because, boys blue, girls pink, right? That's
Right.
kind of like what we're grown up as. And I just don't see it that way myself. So the color blue, I've always loved it. It's always been my favorite color since I was a young tyke. And if you can see, I have blue eyes. And so when I wear blue or I'm around blue, it makes my eyes even look more blue. So it's a complementary color for me. And here's the thing is when people started calling me Sunshine, I did have some branding experts say I should change my colors to yellow. And here's what I said to them. I don't like yellow. So if I have yellow as my color, I won't feel the color. And
That's
so
right.
to me, our brand is way more than just a color. It's if it's a color that when I see these blues here, I just like my eyes immediately go straight to it. And there's something about it that draws me in. And so for my branding, it had to fit that because I wanted to believe in my brand myself.
What I love about my discussions with Lynda is you can jump so deep, and that's why I'm really excited to highlight her in our episode today and to talk so much about what she's done, her story, her business, what she's doing now, and so much more, because we really truly do get into some in-depth conversations. Nothing is surface level with us, which I love it, and I appreciate you for saying all that and sharing that. I knew you'd be comfortable with jumping right into the color conversations, but let's learn about Lynda. So without giving too much detail, I've met Lynda through some amazing people, Eric, Mr. Awesome Swanson, and just through the association of what I call the inner circle of those who really know the value and the true principles of personal development. And we just run in really, really great circles. So I want to highlight that. You guys, she has an amazing background, and I believe you were working in the courts for a while. You've got a lot of background in the legal space and understanding how our government and our systems work in the judicial system. I'd like to learn more about that as well. But Lynda, if you would, this is your opportunity to tell a story, paint the picture of who you are because of where you've come from. And I'll give you the kind of the floor, and I'll jump back in just a minute.
Okay, well, thanks, John. Who I am now is a completely 100% shifted person than who I was, as growing up and until 51 years old. So I lived a lot of my life. I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household. And what that caused, or what that did for me, however we want to say it, it doesn't matter. The reality is that I became a person that was filled with fear, and that also I became a people pleaser. So I myself would live my whole life. I did live my whole life for the first 51 years, wanting to make sure that whatever I said or did wasn't going to go against anybody. Like, that was my focus. That was my life. I walked around everywhere, every job. And by the way, I had 49 jobs in 36 years, but like every job, every relationship, everything I did, my family, everything was surrounded about how can I say something that's not going to make somebody mad, or that's not going to make them hate me. Like, that was how I lived. That was my life. That was everything I saw. So at age 51, we'll fast forward way because we don't need to go through all that stuff. But at age 51, I was driving to work one day, and I was working for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, I had worked 20 years in the legal field as a legal secretary, and I ended up getting this job for this judge. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is like the penultimate. I worked so hard to get here. He was the number 2 judge in the entire district, this circuit that I was in. And that was a big deal. I was working for number 2. Number 1 was older. So I was never going to work for him. And he was in San Francisco, and I'm in San Diego. So anyway, I was driving to work that day, and I just started just being so frustrated. I was frustrated before that anyway, but this one particular day, I'm driving to work and I'm saying, what's my purpose? Like, all I do is I sit in traffic every day. I drive to work. I push papers around for a judge. Big whoopee deal. This was my thought process at the time. And I said, what is my purpose? What is the purpose? What's this planet's purpose? Why am I even here? I started asking myself those questions. Again, I was 51 years old. When I got to work that day, I mean, a lot of us know about the law of attraction. So, what you put out there comes back. Well, what happened was I was asking myself this question, and the answer came to me that day when I got to work. I logged into Facebook, and I saw a post from a woman that I didn't know. And it said, I'm a life coach. I took some time off. I'm getting back into it. I'm looking for 5 women who want to change their life. And I was like, this woman's talking to me. So I raised my hand. I said, I'm in. I don't know who you are, what you're all about, but I want to change my life. Can you help me? And so I went ahead and I paid for life coaching sessions with her. And that was the start to the beginning of my life. So I'm really only 6 years old, because that was August of 2014. I'm 6 years old today. There's more to the story if you want to hear it, or if you want me to stop right there.
No, I'm jumping in because I wanted you to know that I was smiling, and two, I'd love that to you, you're only 6 years old. I'd love to hear more.
Okay. So I ended up working with her. It was 5 months of working with her. I started in August and ended in November. By the end of the time working with her, like, we had gone through so many changes. I had gone through so many changes through her tutelage, and I became a completely different person in 5 months. And actually, it was happening week by week by week. And I know this because people would say to me, wow, you're so different this week than you were last week. So I know that I was changing on a weekly basis. I didn't feel like it because, I'm myself, I'm just living it. But other people recognized it. So after 5 months of this like constant change, growth, positive growth, positive growth, positive growth, it was November and I was done working with her. So I had all December to myself. This is December of 2014, all to myself. And I can do this. I can continue changing. Well, it didn't happen as fast because I didn't have the person asking me the question she was asking me. So I did something kind of crazy. January 1st of 2015, I woke up that morning and I said, I made so many changes, but I want to keep going. I got to do something different this year. So I didn't set a, what do you call it, a New Year's resolution, because I break every single New Year's resolution I've ever set. So instead, I made a New Year commitment.
Mm.
It wasn't a resolution, it was a commitment to myself. And what I did is I decided I'm going to face a fear every single day this year. So in 2015, I faced all fear every single day, 365 days that year. And it was a commitment to myself to do that, to break through all those fears that I had, gathered up and thrown over my back. I'm pulling these along for 51 years. So I did that. Every morning I wake up, and the first thing I would do before I got out of bed is ask myself, what scares me? These three words completely changed my life. That was actually the year I met Eric Swanson. That was the year I met so many people on this journey, because I was putting myself out there for the first time in my life. I'm no longer a people pleaser. I'm no longer afraid of judgment. And these are two of the things that were the biggest things that were holding me back from living my life. And so now I'm just living it unapologetically. This is who I am. I'm 6 years old now, and I'm still on that journey of growth. So that's where I am.
To the 6-year-old comment, our friend Sally, she she thinks you're a fantastic 6-year-old, and I
Well,
agree.
at least she didn't say fanatic. She said fantastic instead of fanatic.
I would have like had a dyslexic moment and probably would have read it that way anyways. Oh, that's fantastic. I love your story, and I love that you gave those details, and you hit on so many amazing principles that I too want to hit on to press this. But you've already sort of jumped into what this podcast is all about, and my audience loves to feed off of the nuggets of knowledge that you're sharing, and you were already applying your story to our lives. So I love that you're a natural teacher, and I thank you for that. I love this idea that, well, first of all, your transformational changes came from what I observed, and correct me if I'm wrong, or add to this if you think there's more to it. But I kind of identified three things that you said in regards to transformational or radical transformation. Let's call it that, because transformational change is redundant. Radical transformation is completely different, from being an awesome young woman and now living a whole new life. The first one was proximity to the individuals and the exposure of amazing attitudes and people who you surrounded yourself with. The next one I thought was environment. By changing your environment where you were, absolutely, whether it was career, household, the things you did on a daily basis became a huge indicator. And then the last one is mindset. For me, I saw a huge acceptance or a belief. We'll go to the word belief in those two things that allowed you to make the radical transformation that you did. And it was such a sustainable way. You're such a beautiful, amazing, vibrant human being that now embodies this idea of being in the right place with the right intentions and setting commitments rather than goals or I blocked the word out from New Year's resolutions. There you go. And anything else. But I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add, because those are the things I took away. But I think other people might have other things that they took away from your story. What do you believe that are like the nuggets of knowledge that led to this transformation?
There are so many of them along the way, but there are some that are really prominent, those ones that like really, really stand out. And so, like, one of the things that really led to this transformation for me was, I'm gonna get a little bit emotional probably just thinking about it, is, there was one of the and I have no problem getting emotional in public, by the way. One of the things was, there was an exercise that my life coach did, and it was like she had this workshop, and there were about 8 of us, and it was all women. And we were sitting in this room, and one of the things she had us do was each person individually, just like a mastermind where you're like on the spotlight, you're on the hot seat. And we were in person, sit in the hot seat and then be quiet. except the ladies in the room would look at you and say what they saw in you. And so people started rattling off all these words, and like, I see this, I see that, I see this, like, I see that. And some of the words were like about me were leader. I never saw myself as a leader. Pioneer, nice, kind, generous. Like all these words that were coming at me were things that I did not believe about myself. I didn't have these beliefs because I grew up in an environment where kids were better seen than heard. My ex-husband made sure I knew how stupid and ignorant I was. Thank goodness. My current husband is amazing and loves me and is always telling me how great I am. But my ex-husband, what he said, just it got locked in really tight into that mindset piece, right? We're talking about mindset right now. But it was locked in there so tight that no matter what anybody said, it wouldn't penetrate. It would just like bounce off my head and go back.
Yeah.
And so that one exercise there, I looked at those words and I said, it is time for me to see myself through the eyes of others, for
Mm.
others see the real me. And I opened my mind, my heart, and my soul to seeing myself through their eyes, no longer through my own filter, no longer through my own past, no longer through those people who said all these negative things about me. I was bullied in school and all these, different people along the path that fed me this negative stuff about me. Those were what I believed. I didn't believe the positives. So I made a decision. Again, I was 51 years old when I made this decision to start saying, wow, that person sees this in me. Okay, I'm going to adopt that and I'm going to believe it in myself too until I start to believe it. So I like to say, be it until you become it, rather than fake it till you make it, because I don't
Wow.
like to fake things. I like to be honest and open. And so to me, that doesn't work. So that was a huge exercise for me. Then what I did is I took all the words and I created my own little like notepads. They're like little 4x3 notepads. On every single page is a different word. It's the words about me. So, and then I would say, I am fearless. I am a pioneer. I am whatever those words were. There were 26 of them. And then, so I had these 26-page notepads that I would carry around everywhere I went. I am a risk taker. Like that's one of the ones I remember seeing. And so as I would, writing my notes, I saw the word on top and I would say, I am, and I would just keep saying, I am those words. And now I believe those about me. So it's no longer thinking like needing other people to lift me up, because you know what? I'm my own damn best cheerleader now. I'm tired. I was tired of being my own worst enemy. How
Yeah.
often do we say that? I'm my own worst enemy. Well, you know what? You can flip it. You can become your own best cheerleader. You just got to believe in yourself. And I think that a lot of times, with especially as children, we're told, don't say that. That's boastful. Don't brag about yourself. You know what? I say, bring it on. Brag about yourself all damn day. You know why? Because when you're with people like John, he was talking about POP, the power of proximity, or
Right.
so like being around that proximity. When you are surrounded in an environment of positive, uplifting, supporting, motivational people, they are going to be grateful that you're sharing your ups and your wins. They want to hear it. So when you are around people and when you say something that you feel like they might think it's boastful, don't say it to that person. Go find the people like us and say it to us, because we're like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. That's so exciting. Thanks for sharing. Because we want to see this planet raise the vibration with this positive energy. So surround yourselves with us, because we will see the brilliance in what you're doing and who you are. And as you can tell, John, I'm very passionate about this because I spent years with a stifled voice, terrified to share my voice. I just posted something on LinkedIn yesterday and I was like, oh, if I post this, I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for it. And you know what? For the first time in my life, I'm 58 now. For the first time in my life, I posted something knowing that I might get some backlash. And guess what? I got a lot of backlash, and it's not adversely affecting my life, because I'm like, I'm just so proud of myself for doing it, for putting it out there. So anyway, yeah, so many different things I could talk about these topics, because mindset, it all starts in our mindset.
Mm.
I believe it actually starts in our body first and then it goes
Right.
to our mindset. But still, the mindset has to change and we have to be open to the change. Otherwise, it's not going to. I was closed for 51 years. No longer. That did not serve me at all. So now I'm open to it. So anyway, I don't even know. Oh, I need to take a breath. A breath.
You're awesome. I am so filled with like my hair started standing up. I was like, yes, we're talking about this stuff. And I like I said from the beginning to my listeners, when I have conversations on this podcast, we don't ever really stay at the surface. We try to get deep. But Lynda jumps deep, and I mean, she's Olympic diver, starting at the high height and saying, "Let's go touch the bottom of the pool," and we're gonna get a 20-meter drop start to hit that.
I want to say something there, John. First of all, thanks for acknowledging that and recognizing that, because I don't like surface conversations. To me,
No.
they're a waste of time. And time is the most precious commodity we have. When I get on I was telling somebody just the other day, I said, when I hop on a 30-minute, because I do 30-minute free consultations, right? When I hop on a 30-minute call, you know what I say? Right at the beginning, I say, do you mind if we skip all the pleasantries and just get right into it? Because I don't want to waste their time and I don't want to waste my time. And 100% of the time they say, yeah, let's do it. But look at all that time that people waste. I'm tired of wasting time. I had 51 years of waste. I don't have time for any more waste. Mic drop.
I 100% agree with you. Mic drop. Where's my mic? I'll steal one from Eric Swanson here. He has the mini microphone here, and I'll we drop it. Speaking of our friend Eric and a great mentor, he's just said hello, and look at these two awesome human beings, leaders,
Yes.
bestsellers, so awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit about your career and so forth. But we just highlighted your story and the principles to success, and what an amazing experience it's been. And we gave some credit where credit's due to the people and the things that have come from our experiences. One thing I wanted to really highlight was this idea that we can change anything. You just said it yourself when you said, if, and I'm going to put it in my own words here, because the way I processed it was, we are oftentimes our own worst enemies, and we're just so, we can be so good at being our worst enemies. Well, here's a crazy thought. If we can be good at being our worst enemies, can we also be good at being our best friends or our best advocates? I mean, it's so important that we can flip the script, like you said. And it's, I mean, crazy talk, right? That if we can be good at bad things, can't we also be good at good things? Just saying. It seems to be a pretty easy formula for happiness, joyful success, and even fulfillment. But anyways, I want to transition a little bit, but did you want to comment on that? And then we'll
Yes,
move
of
into
course.
talking a little bit about what's going on in your world.
Yeah, because imagine, I spent so many years looking outside of myself for approval, right? A lot of us do. We do that. Like, we didn't get the approval from our parents. And so now we're looking for approval from our parents. We're still going to search for it and they're never going to give it. Then we're looking for approval from our friends and our family. And we're looking for approval from our coworkers and our bosses. Like, we're always outside looking for approval. Imagine if you could wake up every day and say, I'm good. Man, look at me. Look how awesome I am. I'll pat myself on the back. Become your own best cheerleader, because if you're waiting until other people approve of you, you could be waiting a lifetime. So why waste the time on that, but instead become your own best cheerleader? That's what I became. As I started looking at myself and saying, you know what, I'm too busy looking outside for approval, but I've got approval. It's right here. It's right here. I just need to tap into it and just like start saying, here I am. I'm doing great. I don't need other people to motivate me. I'm a self-motivator now. I still lag behind on some things. Don't get me wrong. I still have time issues, time management issues sometimes show up. But sometimes when I'm like balls to the wall, like, I just keep on going, and I don't need that outside force, because I realize I got that force right within here in my heart and my soul, and I just need to tap into it.
Oh man, I love this
Passion.
conversation. I love what we're talking about. Let's transition a little bit. I want to talk about what you're doing now, and allow our listeners to contact you and find out more about what you do, because I'm sure people at home are listening to either the live or to the recording of this wherever you get your podcasts. And I want to talk more about what's going on in your world. So now that we know a little bit of the story and where you came from and where you're at now, what are some of your major focuses and what are you working on today?
Oh, what I'm working on today. Well, I want to kind of I'm going to go back just a little bit for just a minute here. Again, in 2015, I faced a fear every single day.
That's right.
During that journey that got me to the POP, the power of proximity, because during that journey, I ended up meeting my mentor, Greg Reed, who completely changed. I shouldn't say he changed my life, because I changed my life, but through his guidance. And through that guidance, I ended up meeting some absolutely incredible people, and I'm still meeting them today. I'm going to continue to meet more incredible people like you, John, right? So I met Eric. Actually, I met Eric at a different time than I met Greg. But it's really interesting what happens when we open ourselves up. And so during that journey of that year of fears, one of the fears I had was sharing my voice with the world, saying anything out loud, because people might judge me. Maybe they won't like me. They won't like what I have to say, or they'll catch on how stupid and ignorant I am, like my ex-husband told me I was on a daily basis. So one of the things that happened during that year of fears, by the way, I do have a free download of my book called The Year of Fears. You can go to theyearoffears.com and just get a free download of it. But while I was facing those fears every day, one of the persons I met on that journey is a gentleman by the name of Frank Shankwitz. And many of you know him, but those who don't, he's one of the creators and co-founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's recently passed on, which, a tremendous man. He really did a lot for me in my life. And so I reached out to Frank one day and I said, hey, I'm thinking of writing a book called Momentum, 13 Lessons from Action Takers Who Changed the World. Will you be in the book? And he said, yeah, of course, just tell me what I need to do. So then I reached out to another gentleman, Brian Smith, the founder of UGG Boots. And I said, same thing. And he said, yeah, just tell me what I need to do. So I was like, oh crap, I've got a book. These guys are interested. So I need to do this. Right. So I started on this journey to create this collaboration book called Momentum. And then when it launched, I got the authors in it. When it launched, it became a bestseller in like 8 hours. And I was so excited about that. And I said, I love doing this. This is so much fun. So I started on the journey of creating more collaboration books. I have 2 being released this month called The Fearless Entrepreneurs, and Eric Swanson wrote the foreword for that book. So that's really
Hey.
awesome. Awesome, Swanson. And then the other book is called Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. And those are women telling their stories of going from invisible to invincible. Why? These are my stories. These are my stories. And I wanted to be able to help other women and men to share their stories as well in these books. So that's what I'm doing. I've made a complete shift, over to I've done, you name it, I've tried it, for a business. Things just weren't really setting in. But this is the thing that I absolutely love doing, because I have an opportunity to help other people share their voice with the world. So writing collaboration books is something I'm absolutely passionate about.
Oh man, and I just want to touch base on the value that comes from collaboration, because again, the mastermind methodology of collaboration is that you can really do anything in this world. You are amazing, but if you really want to accelerate and have fulfillment in what I call the human connection, is when you work together with other people, when you spend time to work with others. And we alongside the collaboration books that you're working on with your mentors. And by the way, this is how my audience will understand and know that, Lynda walks in really great circles, is by how she connects and collaborates with the people who run in the great circles. Like, these are the good people. These are the people who edify the right values of personal development and professional development. And I say that with confidence, because I know that if you just trust anybody, you might not go too far. One of your friends, and I think a partner and a friend in one of your collaboration books, Mark Ledlow, was on the show previously. And Mark, he talked about, what his quote was: show me who your coach is, and I will show you what your future is. Show me who your coach or mentor is, and I will show you what your future looks like, or something like that. I can't quite remember the quote, but that's really cool, because by the people who you work with, you will know it could be even biblical reference, right? And I'm not saying that I'm totally knowledgeable of biblical references here, but there's the phrase, the labor of your fruits, right? By the labor of your fruits you shall know, or by the sweat of your brow you should know. And it's really, really interesting, because you are a great connector, an awesome proponent for amazing collaborations. And I want to congratulate you on the future, the releases this month, and so the awesome opportunities you're going through, as well as the collaboration that we're involved with. Like this is becoming you. This is becoming something that you are definitely involved in, and that is so cool. I wanted to highlight that and say that, because I think my audience should know that Melinda is involved in some really, really great projects, including jumping in on the collaborations that other people are hosting as well. I think that's so cool, and what a really, really great value add to you and to the systems that you perpetuate, right? To not only host them, to be a part of them.
Yeah, I wanted to say something on that too, because the collaboration part, I was never a good collaborator in the past. This is all new for me. Again, I mentioned earlier that I'm like a 6-year-old. When I started this journey of opening my mind, my heart, and my soul, is when that, we were talking before we went live here, we're talking about abundance, like true abundance. Abundance to me, I hear people talk about abundance a lot of times, but then I'll see them in the background not
Yeah.
living an abundant life. And it's like, are you just doing that for the camera? Are you just doing that for the public? But really, deep down inside, you're not living it. So to me, that's been one of the things that I've been really, really working hard on, to make sure that I'm not talking about abundance, but I'm living in abundance. And so we were talking about that, John, and I want to thank you for being one of those who is true to that abundant nature, because this is, this journey that we're on here. Like when I go to bed every single night, I know that I've done some really good work, because I've connected the right people with each other. But learning how to connect people, that was something that Greg Reed taught me, because as my mentor, I've been very fortunate to have him as my mentor, along the way. And then Eric's become one of my mentors too, just, in the last year or so. So it's been amazing to have these mentors who are, like you said, like Mark Ledlow said, show me your coach and I'll show you, what you become, or whatever his quote was, because really it's those coaches that we have in our lives that will help to guide us down those paths. And if you mix up with someone who has an attitude that is about, greed, then we might become that if we're not really aware of what's happening. And I'll share really quickly that actually almost happened to me. I didn't know it at the time, but I joined a mastermind, and it was actually a business cult.
Hmm.
Now, they might not have known it themselves, but the way they operated it was all about molding our minds to what they wanted us to be. And I found myself going down that path because I wasn't strong enough yet. I hadn't yet built a foundation for who I am and what I'm all about on this, this journey that I've been on. And so I was prey to it, and I ended up falling for it, which is unfortunate. But it got to the end there, I was like, is this all about money? And they were like, yes, it's all about the money. And I said, I'm out. That's not me. And I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
So we can make a stand for ourselves and say, you know what? Even though this is my coach and I paid all this money, if you're not in alignment with them, get out fast. That's what I want to say. Get out fast. If you're not in alignment with that person and their principles, you don't really want to hang around them. And yeah, money is money. You know what? You'll make more tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I think we were talking about this, man. We've been in so many live meetings and private meetings and masterminds and broadcasts over the last few days. I forget which meeting we had it, but we were having a conversation about alignment and the alignment factor of the direction you were heading. And I think that's just a huge piece, because where Lynda and I had talked about behind the scenes before we started this podcast, where obviously I'm in coordination with a book series and a collaboration book series, which Lynda and I are part of together, which is amazing. And knowing that she also does her own book collaborations, I thought, yes, wow, what an amazing way to show support to other people's successes by collaborating and showing them that I align with the ideology that we are bringing people together so that we can create so much value. And I love that you said that. I love that that was your focus. And thank you for bringing that up. In the green room backstage before we came out, we were just chomping on some delicious cake, and well, mine was iced coffee, but I don't know what yours was in other rooms from across the world. But I really appreciate that perspective because, again, we all live in our own worlds. We all do what we are, what our current responsibilities are to ourselves and to our clients. But again, it isn't always about the money. It's about the relationships and the perpetual alignment that we create and surround ourselves with. And I want to thank you for that, because that was a really cool thing. And I know that was a concern you had before we had this conversation, which was let's make sure that that's cool. And I said, yeah, that's cool, because what we are doing is we're changing people's lives. And I just had a conversation with Mark Ledlow, who works with you, and that was an amazing experience. I want to turn it back to the conversation because there's so much more that we could talk about, but I want you to take the mic for a minute and please hone in on the nuggets of knowledge that you shared. And I'd like for you to issue a challenge to my listeners. And the challenge being, how can they take action based on the information and the knowledge that they've received today? What would you challenge them to do to take action? One step or one thing closer towards their commitments rather than their resolutions or their goals. What would you advise they do, and how could they do that?
Well, I love this question because I asked this similar question on my podcast as well, because really it's about taking that action. I'm all about women action takers. That is my brand, Women Action Takers. And so it's all about taking action. And first of all, I named that brand because I was like, I wanted to be surrounded by women because those are my potential clients. And then I want to be surrounded by action takers, not excuse makers, So I created Women Action Takers because that's what I wanted to attract to me and just be surrounded by those people. And so taking action is where it happens. You can dream, hope, desire, pray, manifest, everything you want in life. But if it's staring you in the face right there, if it has come to you, if you do not take that action, I don't care how much you want it, it's not going to happen. You have to take action. So my advice is, if you have fears, now we all have fears. I've interviewed many, many, many hundreds of people and even asked extremely highly successful billionaires, do you have any fears? And every single person has said yes. Now, they're different fears. They range widely. And so if you have fears that are showing up, I highly recommend that you check in with your faith, because fear and faith cannot exist together. So if you're having something that's making you nervous, anxious, scared, one thing is first change all of those words to the word excited, because excited is a happy word.
Yeah.
But if you're experiencing that, check in with yourself and ask yourself this question. Lynda, and I do this all the time, Lynda, how strong is my faith right now? Oh, how strong is your faith right now? Lynda, how strong is your faith right now? I talk to myself in the third person because it's as if somebody else is talking to me. So Lynda, how strong is your faith right now? You have this fear. Check in with your faith. And I created my own acronym for fear. I've heard like face everything and run, or false evidence appearing real. So mine is faith erases anxious reactions. Because when your fear is strong, your faith is weak. When your faith is strong, your fear is weakened. So check in with your faith first thing, and then say, you know what? I'm going to do this because I'm scared. Your growth is going to happen after you break through that fear. Now, you will still have that fear again at some point in your life, but at least you broke through it that one time, and then the next time, and then the next time. I know a lot about breaking through fears. I did 365 days in a row. So what happened is, each time I broke through a certain fear, my comfort zone, as they call it, our comfort zone, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I just enlarge the size of that comfort zone by breaking through fears on a regular basis. Then you become numb to fear and you're like, oh, it's just fear. I'm going to do it because I'm scared. Whatever. I'm going to laugh fear in the face, So that's what I say. Check in with your face and face those fears.
I love it. I love it. And we are having other people send you some love as well. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for issuing that challenge to our listeners. And again, the purpose of these interviews is to, one, highlight the individual, share the knowledge, and to challenge those listeners to take action. So thank you. How can my listeners get a hold of you if they have further questions or they want to connect with you on social media? What's the best way to do so?
I'm on all the socials, Lynda Sunshine West. I'm on Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse. If you're over there, please let's connect over there too. But I'm on all the socials, as well as my company, Lynda Sunshine West. Women Action Takers is also on all the socials. But you can email me, Lynda@womenactiontakers.com. Let's hop on a call. Let's hop on a collaboration call to see if there's something we can collaborate on. I love collaborating.
Obviously, because that's what we've been talking about, right? It's such a beautiful relationship to build. Oh, looks like
Not every collaboration works. Not every call works as to a collaboration, but if you don't have her hop on the call, you'll never know if it'll work. That's the thing. We
Exactly.
got to do it. Yeah, and I want to share really quickly. I was doing a live video one day. I've done thousands of live videos, and I was doing one. I got this call, and it was this guy calling me, and his name is Les Brown. And he said, "Hey, Lynda, when I'm in town, you make sure that you see me because I'm going to teach you how to leverage my name." And that was such a big deal for me because like I was just like, because I'm a person who helps people. I love to help people. And so I was helping him with something. And so he reached out to me and said that. So what do you think I did? When he came into town, I called him up. I said, I'm coming over. And I was ready to have him teach me how to leverage his name. And he did. Absolutely amazing. And it was just through that service, right? Because always of service, be it in service as much as we can, not to our detriment, but make sure that it's serving us as well. Because there's one thing about serving others, which is awesome, but make sure it also serves you in a way that whether it's feeding your heart, your mind, your soul, whatever, just make sure that it's something again in alignment with you. Don't serve just to serve. Serve to serve yourself as well. I mean, that might sound self-serving, but we have to serve ourselves. We have to fill our cup because everything flowing over is what goes to other people.
If you can be, what did we say? What did we say at the beginning of this call? If you can be if you can be your greatest enemy, you can also be your greatest advocate, right? So that's amazing.
Totally.
Thank you so much. Put your website right here, womenactiontakers.com, or you can go to Lynda Sunshine West, I believe.com, as well as you can find her anywhere on social media. By the way, one of my newest favorite features about Clubhouse is the ability to direct message individuals. Isn't that great? Like, I think you can direct message pretty much anybody, not just followers or who you're connected with, but it's so nice that we can do that now, because before we were rerouting to social media accounts where we were still connecting, and though some people still do that, I get messages on my Twitter still, my Instagram, and now Clubhouse. So I'm like, oh, another channel.
I know, but you're getting messages. You're getting messages. This means that you're delivering great messages to them, right? For them to reach out to you. So that's awesome. Absolutely. I love it.
I did have one quick story I wanted to share, and my audience kind of knows the story, so I'll be very brief. But to your point about collaboration, you truly shared what a lot of our listeners really need to hear. And if you don't take the call, then you will never know, and you'll never know, and you'll never be given the opportunities. And in a way, I would never want to live a world where I'm aware of the things I'm missing out of. I'd rather either not know completely or totally be invested in. And I was once at a summit working one of the booths, and an individual walked up to me, and they were just really intuitive, asking me questions about what it is that you're working on. And I started talking about my ideas of one day having a nonprofit in the Philippines and utilizing a freshwater pearl farm to cultivate these pearls and sell them at premiums to teach these families entrepreneurship and help them, eradicate the poverty that they were living in and find prosperity in their life. And this individual says, that's very interesting. Hold on one second. They pull out their phone, they dial a few numbers, they pick up the phone call, and they say, take this call. You're going to want to take this call. Okay, I pick up the phone. This person starts speaking Filipino to me, which I speak, by the way, and they basically just told me that, hey, I hear you're looking for a place to cultivate a freshwater pearl farm in the Philippines. I'm like, if you don't take the call, if you don't actually warm up to the collaboration, you'll never know what you're missing out on. And so I wanted to highlight you in that principle through another story and share that. But thank you for telling my listeners all that you have today. Thank you for issuing the challenge. Thank you for telling them how they can get a hold of you. And did you have any special gifts that you want to give away?
Yeah, so I do have, The Year of Fears, my book. You can go to theyearoffears.com. And John, that's an amazing story there. First of all, mahal kita. I think that's like the only term I know
Thank you.
in Tagalog. Oh, I know some other ones, but they're not good. Like I learned all the bad words, right? But that one means I love you. And then, here's the thing is like you were talking about that call, you were standing there, but here's what I want the listeners to hear was John's clarity
Mm-hmm.
on what he wanted. Because if he said, I want to do this and that, but he wasn't exactly clear on it, the person would have heard him and what he was saying, but that they might not have registered, oh, I've got this connection for you. Because it was your clarity, John, that really made that connection. So the connection happened because you knew exactly what you were doing. And I think that clarity is it's clarity and confidence in the clarity are the keys to the success for us is that, that clarity is so important because I myself have been so confused on so many things. I was confident about my confusion, but then when I said it, I was clear, but it wasn't a clear message that went out to the world. And so for you, you were confident in it and it was a clear message. And that's why the connection happened. So congratulations on that. That's fantastic. For your listeners, get clear on your message.
Wow.
And it'll
Thank
happen.
you. I want to drop this one for you again. That was awesome. Oh, Lynda, this has been a great hour. Thank you so much for the knowledge that you've shared, the challenges you've issued. And I really get excited about the depth that comes from those who do have clarity and have gone down hell's path to figure it out so that they could help and share others. And you truly embody that. And I thank you for your example, your kindness, and your perpetualism in serving others. So thank you for doing that, as well as the collaborations that you continue to serve and create. What an amazing deal. And I'm so honored to be a co-author with you and a best-selling co-author, if that, on this project. And I know the many other projects to come. 13 Steps to Riches, go check it out, as well as some of the other collaboration books that we talked about here on this call. But thank you. And I really appreciate you, and looking forward to more collaborations, more opportunities, but more leadership and how we are teaching and mentoring people as we are being taught and mentored by those in proximity to the values in which we continue to focus on. So thank you. I honor you. I appreciate you. And again, huge shout out to those who have connected us and created this opportunity. And thank you so much for serving my listeners.
Thank you, John, so much. And remember, mahal kita.
Mahal kita means I love you. And I appreciate that.
Tagalog, yeah.
In Tagalog, and I'm going to find out a little bit how she knows that, but we're going to hit our outro. But thank you everybody for joining us on the Circle of Knowledge podcast. Go check it out wherever you listen to podcasts as well. You'll hear Lynda, I almost said it again, Lynda Sunshine West on any one of those channels, and we are so excited to just be proud owners of the values in which we perpetuate through this platform. So thank you again, Lynda.
Thank you.